Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Gold IRA Blueprint. This episode is for all you smart retirees out there, those of you who want to make sure their golden years really are golden. And you know those market swings and inflation, yeah, all that stuff, it could really make retirement feel like a bumpy ride. But wouldn't it be great if there was a way to smooth things out, a way to protect everything you've worked so hard for, so you can finally relax and enjoy retirement the way it's meant to be? And hey, before we dive in, make sure to grab our free Gold IRA checklist. You can find the link right there in the episode description. It's designed specifically for folks with, a good amount of savings. Think $100,000 to $5 million or more. It'll make setting up a Gold IRA super easy. So go ahead and grab that while we chat. Now tell me, have you ever thought about going beyond the usual? Stocks and bonds. Diversifying into something a little more, how should I put it? Tangible.
You've hit on a major concern for a lot of high net worth retirees. They're looking for something more than just, paper assets. Something with real substance, something they can actually hold on to. And that's where the idea of a gold IRA comes into play.
Okay, so break it down for me. Gold IRA. What exactly are we talking about here?
Well, imagine a retirement account. But instead of holding stocks or bonds, you're holding actual physical gold, silver, platinum, or even palladium. It's about owning something real, something with intrinsic value that stood the test of time.
So I'm picturing like stacks of gold bars in my living room. Am I on the right track?
Not quite. For security reasons and to comply with IRS regulations, the gold is stored in a specialized, highly secure facility. It's called an IRS-approved depository. And all this is managed through a qualified custodian. They make sure your account follows all the rules and regulations.
Got it. So it's not as simple as stuffing my mattress with Krugerrands, but it's still about owning real, tangible gold.
Right. But why gold? What makes it so appealing for someone like me? Someone who's worked hard, saved up a good nest egg, and wants to protect it.
Let's talk about inflation, something we're all dealing with these days. You know how the price of just about everything seems to keep going up? That's inflation eating away at your purchasing power. And gold historically has acted as a hedge against inflation. When the value of the dollar drops, gold tends to hold its value, sometimes even going up.
So it's like a shield, protecting my savings from losing their punch.
Exactly. Think of it as a way to safeguard your wealth, especially during uncertain economic times.
And what about those scary market downturns? When the stock market takes a nosedive, how does gold factor into that?
That's where the concept of a safe haven comes in. When markets tumble, people often flock to assets that are seen as stable and secure. And gold, being a tangible asset with a long history of value, fits that description perfectly. It often holds steady or even goes up when other investments are plummeting. Now, if I'm being honest, this all sounds almost too good to be true. I've heard some people say you can't actually hold physical gold in a retirement account. What's the real story there?
That's a common misconception. A gold IRA is a type of self-directed IRA, and it's perfectly legal. It allows you to hold physical gold. It's all laid out in the IRS regulations.
And what about selling the gold if I need to access the money? I've heard it can be a real hassle.
Not at all. Gold is very liquid, meaning you can buy and sell it easily. If you need to liquidate your holdings, it can be done quickly and efficiently.
Okay, good to know. That puts my mind at ease a bit. But what about security? I mean, it's gold we're talking about here.
Remember those IRS-approved depositories I mentioned? They're incredibly secure. Think Fort Knox level security, with layers of protection and insurance to safeguard your assets.
All right, that makes sense. But there are always some bad apples out there. Any red flags I should watch out for? When I'm choosing a gold IRA provider,
You're absolutely right to be cautious. Some companies might try to take advantage of people with hidden fees, high-pressure sales tactics, or even make misleading claims about certain gold coins.
so how do I avoid those traps? What should I look for in a reputable provider?
Reputation is key. Look for companies with a solid track record and high ratings from trusted organizations, like the Better Business Bureau.
And what about fees? That always seems to be a bit of a mystery.
Transparency is essential. Choose providers who are upfront about their fees. No hidden costs or surprises.
So reputation, fees, what else?
Make sure they work with reputable IRS-approved custodians and depositories. To store your gold, it's all about peace of mind, knowing your assets are safe and sound.
Okay, that's a lot to consider. But honestly, with so many companies out there, it can feel overwhelming. Where do I even begin?
Don't be afraid to shop around. Compare quotes from different providers. Look at what they offer. Read what their customers are saying. And, before I forget, did you download that free Gold IRA checklist I mentioned earlier? It's in the episode description. And it walks you through all the key things to consider when choosing a provider.
That's right, the checklist. Almost forgot about that.
It's a great resource that can really simplify the whole process.
Now, you mentioned reading customer reviews. Are there any real-life examples of how a Gold IRA has helped people like me, retirees with a decent chunk of money they want to protect?
Absolutely. I remember this one couple, they had about $2 million in savings and decided to put 15% of that into a gold IRA. Well, when the stock market took a dip, their gold holdings actually went up in value. And that helped offset their losses and protect their overall wealth.
That's a great example of how gold can provide that stability we talked about. Any other stories come to mind?
Yeah, there was this retiree who moved a portion of their 401k into a gold IRA right before inflation really started to heat up. That move protected their purchasing power, while others were seeing their savings eroded by rising prices. It really shows how powerful gold can be as a hedge against inflation.
Wow. It's amazing to hear how those real-life scenarios actually play out. It makes this whole gold IRA thing a lot more real. It's not just some abstract financial product. It's something that can actually make a difference in people's lives.
Absolutely. These stories show the real impact gold can have on people's lives and their financial security, especially for those approaching or already in retirement, who are looking to protect their hard-earned savings.
So we've seen how gold can act as a buffer against inflation and provide some stability when the markets get rocky. But I'm curious about its long-term growth potential. Can gold actually appreciate in value? Or is it more about just preserving what you already have?
That's a question a lot of investors ask. While gold is often seen as a way to store value, it can also increase in value over time. Especially during periods of global uncertainty or economic turmoil, you have to remember gold is a finite resource, and demand often exceeds supply, which can push prices higher.
But haven't gold prices been kind of flat in recent years? How can we be sure that trend will reverse?
You're right, gold prices have fluctuated over the past few years, but a lot of analysts believe that factors like rising inflation, geopolitical tensions, and a potential weakening of the US dollar could create a really good environment for gold to appreciate in the years to come.
Interesting. So it's not just about playing defense. There's also the potential for growth. But let's be realistic for a moment. Gold isn't a magic solution. It's not going to solve all our financial problems. What are some of the drawbacks or risks we should be aware of?
You make a good point. Every investment comes with some level of risk, and gold is no exception. One thing to keep in mind is that gold doesn't generate income, like stocks that pay dividends or bonds that pay interest. So its returns are solely based on how much its price goes up.
That's a key difference. So
Yeah.
you're not getting any passive income from gold. You're betting on the price going up. What else?
Another thing to consider is storage fees. Remember those secure depositories where the gold is kept? Well, those services come with a cost, and those fees can eat into your returns over time. It's important to factor those fees into your overall investment strategy.
Okay, no passive income and storage fees. Got it. Any other potential downsides we should know about?
Well, like any investment, gold prices can be volatile in the short term. They can go up and down based on market sentiment, economic news, and even things happening on the global stage. So it's not a way to get rich quickly. It's more about long-term stability and preserving your wealth.
So it's about riding out those short-term fluctuations and focusing on the big picture. But this whole discussion about gold makes me wonder, are there other assets or strategies that can also help protect my retirement savings?
Absolutely. Gold is just one piece of the puzzle. Diversification is really important for any well-rounded retirement portfolio. Other assets like real estate, commodities, and even certain types of bonds can offer some protection against inflation or market volatility.
So it's not an either situation. It's about finding the right mix of assets that match your own financial goals and risk tolerance. And I guess that's where working with a qualified financial advisor can come in handy.
Exactly. A financial advisor can help you take a look at your overall financial situation, understand how much risk you're comfortable with, and develop a personalized investment strategy that meets your specific needs.
Okay, so we've talked about gold, we've touched on other asset classes, and the value of working with a financial advisor. But let's get back to gold IRA specifically. What are some concrete steps someone like me can take to get started?
The first step is to figure out if a gold IRA actually aligns with your financial goals and your risk tolerance. If it seems like a good fit, then the next step would be to start researching reputable gold IRA providers. Remember those things we talked about earlier? Reputation, fees, storage options, transparency.
And don't forget to compare different providers and read those customer reviews. It's all about doing your due diligence and finding the right fit for you. But it can be a bit daunting to get started. Are there any resources or tools available that can help make things easier?
A lot of reputable gold IRA providers offer a ton of resources and support to guide you through the whole process. They can answer your questions, offer personalized advice, and even help with paperwork and logistics. And speaking of resources, have you downloaded our free Gold IRA checklist yet?
Oh yeah, the checklist almost slipped my mind.
It's full of helpful tips and steps to make the whole process a lot smoother. You should definitely check it out.
Awesome. So we've got resources, we've got support from providers. It's starting to feel a little less overwhelming. But I'm also curious about the bigger picture here. What does this growing interest in gold tell us about the economy right now? What's driving this trend?
I think it reflects the anxieties many people are feeling about the future. Things like rising inflation, geopolitical instability, and volatility in the markets are pushing people to look for assets that have historically held their value during times of uncertainty and turmoil. And gold fits that bill perfectly.
So it's almost like a gauge of how much confidence people have
Yeah,
in the traditional financial system.
exactly. When people are uncertain about what the future holds, they tend to gravitate towards assets with a proven track record of stability. And gold has that in spades, going back hundreds of years.
So is this surge in gold investing just a temporary thing? Or is it a trend that's likely to stick around?
Well, it's impossible to predict the future with absolute certainty. But given the current economic climate and the challenges facing traditional investments, it's reasonable to think that interest in gold will remain strong.
That makes sense. It's not just a knee-jerk reaction to a specific event. It's more about a fundamental shift in how people think about preserving their wealth
Yeah.
and mitigating risk.
Precisely. People are looking for ways to secure their financial futures, and gold is becoming an increasingly popular choice.
You know, it's really fascinating how gold, this ancient metal,
Mm-hmm.
is still so relevant in today's economy. But as we start wrapping things up, I want us to kind of shift gears for a moment. We spent a good amount of time on the ins and outs of gold IRAs, the benefits, the risks, and how to actually get started. But beyond the numbers, beyond the charts and graphs, what does it truly mean to protect your wealth? What's the bigger picture here?
I think it boils down to peace of mind. It's knowing you've taken steps to secure your financial future so you can truly enjoy your retirement years without constantly worrying about market swings or economic uncertainty.
It's about freedom, right? Freedom to pursue your passions, spend quality time with loved ones, maybe travel the world, or just relax and enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Absolutely. It's about having that financial security to
Yeah.
live life on your own terms without having to compromise because of money worries.
So it's not just about protecting your wealth. It's about protecting your lifestyle, your sense of security, and the ability to truly enjoy those golden years.
You got it. And building a strong financial foundation, one that includes a diverse portfolio with assets like gold, can make all the difference.
Well, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground today. We explored gold IRAs inside and out, the good, the bad, and how to get started. And we even touched on the broader economic picture and what this trend towards gold tells us about the world today.
It's been a great conversation. I hope everyone listening found it informative and helpful.
And don't forget, if you're thinking about taking that next step, make sure to grab a copy of our free Gold IRA checklist. It's full of tips and resources to help you navigate the process and find the perfect provider for your needs. You can find the link right in the episode description.
It's a valuable tool to have as you embark on this journey.
And remember, this is just the start of your exploration. There's a ton of information out there about gold IRAs and other strategies for protecting your financial future. So keep asking questions, keep learning, and don't hesitate to seek expert advice when you need it.
Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your financial well-being.
Huge thanks to our expert for joining us today and sharing their insights. And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of gold IRAs.
It's been my pleasure.
We'll see you next time on the Gold IRA Blueprint, where we'll continue to explore strategies for building a secure and prosperous retirement. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep working towards that dream retirement.